When people think about a homestead, they often think about acres of land, chickens, goats, barns, and a giant garden. I used to think that I needed a bunch of land and a bunch of money in order to start homesteading. But then I realized that I could start today. And I learned that you don't need a homestead to start homesteading. Owning a homestead has always been a big dream of mine, and I realized that dreams stay dreams unless you put some action behind them. Now, I don't have an acre of land, I don't have animals, and I don't even have a large garden. But if you wait till you have everything, or until you have enough time, or enough money, or enough space, your dreams will never happen. So I just started with what I could get. I made a DIY compost bin. Then I bought a raised garden bed and made a small garden right next to it. And with my desire to learn and expand, super excited to see what this turns into. So when I finally decided that enough was enough and I was just going to start, it was the end of the growing season. So I decided to start composting. This really just grew my urge to really become a true homesteader, just making my own soil, being excited to put it in the garden this year, and to continue to develop the homestead from here. It was just an awesome feeling. I started out with $5 DIY compost bins that I cut holes into and used hay from last season, fall decoration, and grass clippings from mowing, and then the occasional scraps from the kitchen. So before I put a single plant in the ground or got a single animal, which I still don't have, I was making dirt. This is a perfect example of starting small, starting where you can, starting with what you have. And I've learned a lot along the way about composting, about soil, and got into the habit of going outside and doing homestead-like work. So after winter passed and it was finally growing season, I was able to save up and buy a raised garden bed. I needed a raised garden bed in order to keep my dogs out of my garden. I was also lucky enough to have some extra chicken wire laying around, so I could build a small fence next to it to start another in-ground bed. I used egg cartons to start seed starting inside and transplanted them as soon as the weather got nice enough. This is allowing me to learn how to start seeds inside, grow plants, tend to the soil, learn how to water. All these skills are so important to know in order to homestead, and I'm only going to be able to scale from here. I wish I could say that it's been a perfect few weeks with no issues, but there's been plenty. I've had sunflowers topple over due to being started inside. My dog got past the chicken wire and snapped sunflowers and damaged my pumpkin and bent some other sunflowers. And unfortunately, the problems don't end there. I planted sweet potatoes in the raised bed and they all molded and rotted away. These won't go to waste though, because we compost. Along with the sweet potatoes in my raised bed, my summer squash and my tomatoes never sprouted. But we've had all these issues, there's also been solutions. And with some twine and a lot of praying, I was able to save my pumpkin plant, give my sunflowers the support they needed, and now you would have never guessed that just 2 weeks ago, these sunflowers and my pumpkin were struggling. But what am I gonna do about my summer squash, my tomatoes, and my sweet potatoes not sprouting? Well, the easiest answer is just to replant them. I didn't realize that summer squashes were supposed to be inside of a mound. So this time I'm planting them in a mound. As to what happened to my tomatoes, I think they just simply washed away. I wasn't sure how to water when I first planted, and I just soaked the bed. And I think these just washed the seeds away. So this time we're gonna do a little bit of light watering and keep an eye on these. I'll keep you guys updated on these and let you know when they sprout, if they sprout, and if not, please help me out in the comments on what I'm doing wrong. So it goes without saying, I have made many mistakes in my journey of homesteading. But that really is the beauty of it, is being able to learn, explore, and develop these new skills that I would have never learned if I didn't just start. I hope that one day I'll have many acres of a homestead with chickens, goats, a beautiful, luscious garden. But until then, I have my one raised garden bed, the garden right next to it, and a couple compost bins. Because I didn't wait to start, I've already learned so many valuable lessons about gardening and about composting that I would have never learned. So if you're looking to start homesteading, I would recommend you do it today. Start with what you can. You don't need a certain amount of land. You don't need to get animals right away. You could start with a compost bin. Just start now. So it doesn't take the perfect property, the perfect book, the perfect YouTube video, any of that. You're gonna get knowledge by just doing it. So start now, plant your garden, start a compost bin, do what you're able to do, and start learning today.